Hey, good afternoon everybody, and welcome back to the channel on this Aloha Friday. And as usual, late in May right now, gray and looking for some solar. But let's go into the shop and show you what I wanted to talk to you all about today. Yeah, I could use some better sunshine. So, with so many lithium iron phosphate batteries now on the market, how do you make a choice as to which one would be best for you? And how do you make that choice is, it's getting a little complicated because there's so many out there. The prices have been coming down over the past couple of years quite dramatically, but still, depending on what size of a system you're going to build, it's a sizable investment, and you want to be informed as to what's going to be the best avenue for you to take. And the choice is pretty overwhelming out there right now. Now, if you watched my earlier videos lately, I've been working this Power Queen 200 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. Even under these low light conditions, I haven't been working it very hard lately, but as you can see on that charge controller, that's the Victron 100 volt 30 amp controller. That green light means it's in float, it's fully charged. But what I wanted to talk about was all of the batteries on the market, and I've been testing several. We got the Power Queen there, that's the Chins, and this is the Chins Smart battery. It's got low temperature heating protection, as well as a Bluetooth app that's built into it. You can monitor its performance on your phone, and then the ampere time. I've also got the ADC bat, which I have reviewed earlier, and I've got it tied up into another system right now for another upcoming demonstration. So today I went on to Amazon and I counted 22 different named lithium iron phosphate batteries at the 100 amp hour or the 100 amp rate. So this is 100 amp, that's 100 amps, and then that one's a 200 amp. But for today's discussion, I just went and I looked at everything I could find on Amazon, and on page 1 of my feed to Amazon, I found 22 different brands of lithium iron phosphates at the 100 amps. They largely varied in price, or they were, I will say they were actually fairly close in price. Most of them were between $345 and about $400. All of them. I mean, regardless of whether they had low temperature heating or not, which that would be a real consideration for some of you in colder climates, is to have a battery with low temperature heating. Out here in Hawaii, it's not really an issue. It wasn't really a big concern for me. But anyway, most of these that I looked at, of those 22 that I saw, about $350 to about $400 for the 100 amp hour battery. That was pretty much average, all within about $50 of each other. There was a couple of high priced ones. There was a Dakota for $900 and a Banshee, which I'd never heard of, for almost $1,000, $989. So I don't understand why they're charging so much for these things, but those would be out of my price range. So a little over a year ago, I knew my lead acid bank was starting to fade on me a bit, and I started at least about a year and a half ago really researching the lithium iron phosphate batteries. I started watching everybody on YouTube, and that's where I started. I of course watched a ton of stuff by Will Prowse Andy with the Off-Grid Garage, and Lithium Solar, those guys, any one of them knows more than I do in their little finger, or that I ever will know. Those were some of my go-to guys. I'm not meaning to include or exclude anybody else. I watched a ton of guys on YouTube, and that's where I got my start. I will say I trusted all of those guys as well as I do most of the other ones that I watch on YouTube, and I'm grateful for all of their diagnostics that they've shown us over the past several years. And so this is what I went with first. And besides watching all of those YouTube videos and people showing us how the chemistry was working, a lot of them were building systems back then. When I was looking at chins, there wasn't an actual tear down video like a lot of people are doing now, which is really great to see what's inside. But the thing that made me go with chins in my own personal changeover was, besides watching all of the videos, I started talking to chins. And I found their customer service to be just exactly what I was hoping for, extremely responsive. No matter how simple or basic my questions were, since it was a new thing for me. So, and then I'm very happy to say that I have now seen these things torn apart and can see what's inside and the quality of build. Now, that was something that I wasn't going to do, was tear one apart, but I am grateful that others have done that, and we can look and see that, like for example, that one and these here have all been torn apart and looked at carefully by guys that know exactly what they're looking at and can explain it to us. I consider myself a real novice, but they've really explained it in ways that I can even understand, and then I can do my further research. And I will say that every battery that I have reviewed so far, and I'm still continuing to work them out, everyone has lived up to its specifications. They're doing well, and that includes in my case that ADC bat, what is not in view right now, but I'm working all of these every day in various situations, and if I ever find anything that goes wrong, you'll be the first to know. But so far, every one of the batteries I've been running out here, I couldn't ask anything more of it. They've all been fantastic. So I'd really be interested to hear from you guys of, what made you pull the trigger. Some of you are putting in huge battery banks, which is just a huge investment. And what was it that you used as some of your criteria? It's been suggested many times around the YouTube community that a lot of these batteries look very, very similar inside and out. Their configuration, their casing, everything. There's a real similarity to it. I haven't seen myself any of these companies saying that they're all, from the same general company. I don't know that, and I've not seen that out there. I've just heard it suggested, so I don't know. But I will say that just in my case, with ADC battery, with ampere time, with chins, with queens, I have spent a considerable amount of time talking with their customer service representatives, and for me, that has been what's been important. And of course, like I said, my hat's off to the guys that have broken these things apart and dissected them and shown us that these are all solid batteries inside and out. So that I appreciate that they have given us that inside view, because that would be something I would have no idea about. But I will say then, on the other thing that I weighed was the customer service. And all of these that I'm talking about came packaged well. They're backed up by a good warranty. All of their specifications are basically the same. There's a little fluctuation between what some say, how many cycles you're going to get, but mostly it's, they're all hovering around that 4,000. You can get maybe more if you're only cycling at 50%, and they all basically have that kind of a same description in their products. Now I'm a long way from having that kind of a cycle experience, but I am using these, like I said, every day, running absolutely everything, 100% off grid out here. So these have been a game changer. I can't see myself ever going back to lead acid again, but the main thing I was wanting to talk about was just how do you make the choice, and those were my big things. It was YouTube for me, dealing with their customer service, and I was a little nervous when I first made the plunge, but I'm telling you, I couldn't be happier that I did. I personally can't say that one of these batteries or the other has outshined the other, because they're all working as they should. So you know, if I was have to do it all over again, I would use the same criteria. I would watch these guys on YouTube, see what they're saying about these things, and then, you know, if you find a really good deal. But these batteries are all hovering about the same price. There's not any really drastic difference of price that I see at all. You know, the only one that really stands out as being much different, of course, it's much more expensive if you go to the Bluetooth model here at Chin's. It's quite a bit more expensive, but I'm just talking about in this discussion if these were all just basic 100 amp hour batteries, and that's it, because there's so much to choose from. And like I said, 22 I saw today on the first page of my Amazon feed, and the majority of those I've never even heard of. But I'm looking forward to some of these guys tearing them apart too. So anyway, that's what I really wanted to talk to you guys about today, and see how you all were making your decisions, and just share how I made mine. And like I said, all of mine are doing fantastic. Hope you're all going to have a great weekend. It's trying to get brighter. All right, everybody. Aloha.